In today's highly competitive landscape, it is critical to understand and implement really good project management strategy. And in this video, I'm going to share with you all about project management strategy and how to do just that. What is project management strategy and why do you need one? Well, a project management strategy is a framework on how you run your projects, your initiatives, or your business activities. I promise you this, you run more projects than you think. If you have any sort of deliverable that has a start and end date with actually deliverable associated with it, that's a project. And so a lot of our initiatives and activities within business also are projects without us realizing that they are. And as a result, you need a strategic framework in today's competitive business environment that we're in to ensure that all your employees, no matter if they're working in a hybrid environment, if they're working in the office, that they have the ability to know what is it that I'm supposed to do to successfully complete the tasks that I'm assigned to complete right the first time in order to be successful. Because with AI coming on board, with customers knowing that there's more of competitiveness out there, that they can shop around for stuff, we have to be really good at delivering our end results well. We have to do it right the first time. We don't want to be doing rework. And by having a project management strategy and a framework around how we execute on stuff is going to be critical. And the big benefit of that and why is the standardization of things. By standardizing the way we work, we can ensure that we eliminate rework. We can ensure that we can stop the herding of cats, so to speak, which is very infamous when it comes to project management. People just are not doing what they're doing or supposed to be doing. Why? Because they don't know, they don't have a framework. And as a project manager or lead, you're constantly trying to herd them because they're all in different directions. That's a waste of time, energy, and effort in this competitive environment. Everyone should be very clear with what those roles and responsibilities are. They should be very clear on exactly how it is that they're supposed to be doing things. That's why strategy now, project management strategy, is so important in today's day and age. And I'm going to give to you the 5 steps you need to start implementing a project management strategy in your organization. Now, before we get into the 5 steps you need to set up project management strategy, there's something here that you want to consider too. It's about knowing how to ensure that your projects don't fall into some famous pitfalls that all projects tend to go through. I really want you to check it out because part of your strategy is also ensuring that you minimize your risk. Where can you get this? The link is below this video. Step 1, do a gap analysis to understand where your issues are when it comes to your projects, initiatives, and activities. Okay. This is going to be important because you need to have an understanding as to where am I today so I can know where I'm going to go for the future. If you just jump right into, here's our strategic framework without understanding how you are today and what your gaps are, you're not going to be able to transition over because your gaps may be too large. So you have to figure out, what types of projects are we doing? What types of initiatives are we doing? How are we with our resourcing? What are some issues we've had in the past? What worked well? What didn't work well? What could we improve on? So this is what we kind of deem when I have clients who come to me, we call it the discovery period. We have to discover what's going on, how things are being done, and we have to now understand what are the gaps, those issues, so that when we look to creating that really good strategic framework, we have a springboard to jump off of. You do not want to create a framework without knowing where you are today, because I promise you, you'll create a framework that does not link or jive with how you work today, and all of a sudden your new framework is not going to be successful because it's not aligned with how you work today. You need to understand that so you can course correct it and make changes to things that are not working. Otherwise, they're going to be buried into your new framework. So this is really critical. This first step is that gap analysis. Step 2, pick a framework that's going to work for your organization. You want to have a framework that takes you from concept to close. You don't want something that's just, going to have a portion of activities. It's really from true start to true finish, as I like to say. Now, I am very partial because I've created my online project management course, Slay Project Management, which actually is a framework, how to run projects from start to finish. Now, I also want to be really, really clear. Having a framework does not mean that software is a framework, because there's a lot of software, project management software solutions out there which is really just a tool. It's a tool to give you your action and your schedule, but not the framework. And so I really want to distinguish the two for you, because you can have a framework and you can have software tools that support your framework, but you can't have software and that software is going to be your framework, because there's so much more when it comes to your projects, initiatives, and your business activities from a framework perspective. And that's why you do things from true start to true finish, because there's a lot of strategy and initiation stage activities that you're going to do, and approvals, and executing is really not just, that's not what projects are about. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens at the beginning and a whole bunch of stuff that happens at the end, like closing it out, monitoring, course correcting, ensuring that you're successful. What are you going to do for the next project, and looping it back in. And that's why you want to have a framework that encompasses all that. So again, just really, really important that you pick a framework that's going to work for you. Now, don't pick a framework based on a methodology either. You want to have, so if you're like, we only do Agile, I want you to think about, is Agile going to take a look at everything from start to finish? Because you may want to think of a hybrid that kind of takes a combination of both, because you can start mixing and matching according to your needs. But your needs need to encompass, as I said, everything from true start to true finish. Step 3 is teach the framework. I've seen so many organizations they do all the right stuff in the beginning. They go, yes, we need a framework. They do the gap analysis. And then this is where things fall flat, because they're like, well, I'm just going to give this to my project managers. It's like, no, you want to teach the framework to everybody. We talked about some of the benefits and the reason why you want a strategic project framework, and that was standardization. And it's really key and critical that if you want to have a successful strategic project management framework, that everybody needs to know what it is. So your project managers, your project leads, your accidental project managers, your business initiatives who are executing those types of activities, managers, because they need to support everyone who's executing those activities and remove the roadblocks, and executives as well. They need to understand what the framework is, because they're usually coming up with a strategy that's feeding into those projects, initiatives, and activities that are being done in order to attain a deliverable. So now everybody needs to understand what it is, because if you really want to have the benefit of standardization, everyone needs to be educated on it. And there should be some course correcting as well. So when you just implement something, it's not one and done, and you're done. It's not. There's a process to it. There has to be support within it, that you want to make sure that everyone is aware of that, so that you can course correct immediately. Step 4, sustain the framework. All right, just like step 3 when it came to teaching people, and that gets missed a lot of times, this is probably the second most common thing that happens, is that there's no sustainment. Great, we just got this. Go ahead, use it, implement it, but we haven't taught anybody on it, and worse yet, we don't have anywhere from a sustainment practice to make sure that we are following this as well. So sustainment is going to be really critical to sustain that framework. And what I've done with Slay Project Management for organizations is I created a support hub, which allows for this sustainment, gives all the access you need on how to properly set up your project, which is something that you can do whether you use a support hub or not. But have a centralized location where everyone can go to whenever they're being asked to execute a project. They go, oh, here's my central location I go to that has everything at my fingertips, that I know what I'm supposed to do, that has onboarding information if there's someone new that comes on 6 months from now. Everything that they need to be successful, because the best way to get standardization and have a really good strategic project framework is to set people up for success. And if people on their own know where to go and they have all the tools and techniques at their fingertips, then guess what? They're going to be able to execute that stuff successfully, which is going to give you all those benefits we were talking about before, right the first time, ensuring you have really good quality, and your customers being really happy when they get the end result. Step 5, reap the rewards. Yes, this is actually, wow, how nice is that, right? You've done all the critical steps, the gap analysis, picking your framework from a start to a finish, teaching everybody how to use it. And I mean everybody who's going to be touching that process, and then sustaining it. Now you can sit back and reap those rewards. Look, as a efficiency expert and a project management specialist, I've never had a client, when we standardize their processes, come back to me and say, oh, Adriana, I don't see the benefit of any of this, and I'm not seeing any of those rewards that you said we're going to get by standardizing. That always happens. They're always excited. Now, what are some of those key benefits? Well, let me tell you, they're better consistency, increased efficiency, quality assurance, smooth training and onboarding process, accurate and effective risk management and compliance, better collaboration, and more opportunity for adaptability and scalability. In today's day and age, this is really important. This is why every organization needs to have a project management strategic framework. Okay, now that you know all the steps you need to implement project management strategy in your organization, this is the next thing you need, and it's really easy. It's under this video. There's a link for you to download, and it's going to tell you all the pitfalls, the key 6 ones you need to be aware of, because I promise you they're probably going to happen as you're implementing these strategies as well. So I want you to make sure that you can avoid them. So definitely check it out. Watch this next video on strategic project leadership. On that note, if you found value in this content, please give it a like, join this awesome community, and give us a comment. Have you tried any of this stuff? Or if you have any other suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. On that note, see you at the next video. Bye.